Hi, I'm Ohara, and this is Vindice, the electric violin, and today we're going to talk about some warm-up techniques that you could try out. Alright, so if you're familiar with warming up on the violin or similar stringly instruments, or just, I don't know, all instruments, I guess, you're used to hearing about scales, arpeggios, double stops, or chords, and etudes. Those are all really great ways to warm up, and I highly recommend. They can get a little boring after a while, and I think one way to sort of wake yourself up is to try coming up with new and unusual and strange ways to warm up. You can invent your own etudes. You could take basic warm-up things like arpeggios and fit them better to your needs by choosing specific techniques that you will focus on, like, oh, I'm going to do a super staccato arpeggio, or I'm going to pluck the entire arpeggio, 3 octaves of it. Yeah, but definitely don't let warming up become robotic, boring time. It can be good for muscle memory practice, but the more engaged you are in what you're doing, the more you will continue to improve and solidify your technique. During my explorations of warming up, practicing, all of that, I came to a certain practice etude I made up, kind of, that I actually really like doing, and so I do it a lot. It almost makes me feel like I'm improvising a little. It's fun. Alright, so what I do in this exercise is I play various finger combinations on one string, say the G string, while always keeping the adjacent string, the D in this case, as a drone. And I start simple. I start with just using one finger and creating patterns with it, and then add the next finger and so on. This is good for intonation, but it's also really good for getting used to placing your fingers in general. Like, you don't get lazy. You can't afford to get lazy and just splat your finger all over the place, or else the D won't ring out, or your drone, whichever string, will not ring out. So it really forces you to get that beautiful curvature, that wonderful pad placement right on the target string. Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to play a little bit of an example here. So I'm going to start off, again, I'm using my D this time as the drone, and I'm playing my fingers on the G string. So, for example, alright, you can add the next finger. And then together you can make different combinations. And right now I'm doing it just in a sort of minor scale area, but you can also get really chromatic with it and try all the combinations. So, like that. So yeah, you keep adding fingers and you end up with more combinations you can do. You could end up with something like this. Yeah, so that's the main thing that I prefer when I'm warming up my left hand. You can do it with all the strings. So for example, fingers on the E string, drone on the A, fingers on the A string, try drones on both D or E. can trade off. You could do one and then the next. So on and so forth. Alright, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about some warm-up on this side too. Alright. So the bow is a strange thing in that it's weighted differently depending on where you are. It's heaviest here. You've got a balancing point. You've got the light tip over here. So it's really convenient to divide it up. I kind of talked about this a little in my performance anxiety video. Play really small chunks of your bow at a time. So start with this small part of your frog, and you can work your way up, or you could even do a small chunk here, and keep going until you center it out. So, for example, you're like... And you can also do some sort of stretchy things without playing. One example is, I'm sure a lot of violinists already know this. Maybe, I don't know. If you're classical, you might have had to do this, but since a lot of weight is being forced into your pinky because of torque rotation, stuff, you can practice kind of beefing up your pinky by letting it go and pushing it, pushing the bow to a horizontal position. So kind of like, I don't know, what would those be, like pinky push-ups or something? And you can also kind of bounce the bow this way on your finger, your pointer finger, between your two knuckles to sort of feel it settle in there. That's another feely thing. Another feely thing. Alright, thank you for watching, and I hope that video was useful. Feel free to ask me questions in the comments or in my inbox. And recommend videos that you would like me to do or topics you want me to address. And if you want to learn more about me, then you can find me at meiohara.com, meiohara.com. You can also find me on Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr. They're all Ohara. Links will go somewhere. And I guess I'll see you guys next month.